Pew, 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 pew. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Weapon Ray. Today, we have this Frankenstein-looking gun here. This is the B&T conversion kit chassis system for the Glock 17 and 19. All right, so before we get into everything, for all my range officers out there, empty mag and empty gun. Okay, now that we're all in our safe space, let's get back into it. Okay, so this chassis was actually influenced by B&T, which is a weapons manufacturer. It was influenced by their USW A1, which USW stands for Universal Service Weapon. So B&T came out with the USW A1 a couple years ago, and it is essentially a handgun with a stock attached to it. And therefore, because it's a stock, it's technically considered a short barrel rifle, SBR. And it was very popular, but it was extremely expensive. The B&T USW A1 retail price is about $2,500, which is very expensive. So they saw another market where they actually made these conversion kits for Glock owners and certain Glock models and SIG owners, right? There's I think the other chassis is for the SIG P320. And then this chassis, like I said, can fit the Glock 17, the Glock 19. This is actually a Glock 34. And then I believe this also will fit on the Glock 35, but don't quote me on that. For sure, the Glock 17, Glock 19, and Glock 34. Okay, so we're going to approach this video like we do all my other videos. We're going to talk about what this is, what it has to offer, and then the pros and the cons, in my opinion, and then how I have this set up for me. All right, so let's get into it. So this is a chassis system that fits over top this Glock 34 in this case. So what you do is you'll take your gun apart, upper and lower. You'll fit the lower up at an angle, and then it slides in, and it actually locks in place with the little Picatinny slot underneath the barrel. So if you have a Glock Gen 1 or Gen 2 in the models that this chassis fits, this will not work. So it's only 3 and beyond. Okay, so Gens 3, 4, and 5. From there, you actually have to take the back plate off of the slide here because they have their own back plate, which this charging handle slides into. All right, so this conversion does not take too long, but it's not instant, right? So if you wanted to go from a handgun to an SBR, you're in a gunfight, you're going to lose that gunfight because this will take several minutes to put together, especially when it comes to taking off that back plate there. So it's easy, but it's not instant. It's made out of really nice aluminum. Here, it's treated, black nitride, it looks like, and also polymer. So you've got polymer underneath the bottom here, and then the stock itself is polymer. It is, for the most part, completely ambidextrous. Why I say for the most part is the stock is right side folding, and to release the stock, there's a button here, which we'll get into in just a second, which releases it, but this is only on the right side. But if you have ambi-mag releases, you can easily get to them. Slide releases, you can get to them. Takedown pin right here, you can get to both of them. So for the most part, it's ambidextrous. This charging handle can be put on either side, all right? So the button here is only on the right side. So for left-handed shooters, it's gonna be a little bit more inconvenient. But you press this button, there is a little spring-loaded pin right here, and then the stock pops out, and then it locks into place. And then to bring the stock back in, there's a button down here to fold the stock. You push that up, and then it locks back into place right along the side. So it's very streamlined. The chassis itself is pretty light. I think it only weighs maybe it might weigh less than a pound, to be honest. It really is not that heavy. And then it also has some Picatinny slots up here to accommodate for lights, lasers, vertical grips. And then there's a retention screw right here to tighten it all in place. What else? Oh, so it has a raised, well, you know what? Well, no, we'll talk about it right now. So it has a raised frame here, and it's extended, as you can see. So the Glock actually ends right about here. All right, the body of the Glock ends about here. The reason it's extended so far back is as the slide is moving back and forth, ejecting the empty shell and then chambering a new round, it's allowed to move within the chassis itself. And then you can put an optic up top here, and that optic will not be subject to moving along back and forth with the slide itself. But we'll talk about whether that's a pro or con in a little bit. Other than that, it comes with this little loop here that you can attach a single point sling to. And that's about it. The machining is really nice. It's milled out a little bit right here, as you can see, to give you a little bit more room to get to that charging handle. I think that's nice. I think that they thought about that, and you can, it's very consistent. I can get to that every single time, and then it folds back. So the machining is really well, and they cut it out, I think, specifically for people to get at that charging handle more easily. All right, talk about the pros and cons. We're going to start with the cons here. There's only a couple. So I've only put about 200 rounds through this system. And after about 200 rounds, this retention screw here did start to become loose. And you can see that it's just hand tightened. And they say hand tightened, but it did start to become loose. Now, this retention screw is not holding everything together. So you can see I'm going to really loosen this screw up, and this gun is not going to fall out. It's not going to fall apart. It just kind of keeps everything tight. All right. But I don't want to lose this screw, right? Because that's not good. So I think I might add some Loctite. So just be aware of that this screw might come loose after, just a couple hundred rounds of shooting. Moving back, the stock is nice because it's very light, very streamlined, but it is very small. So the butt stock right here, it's very small, and it's plastic. So the 9mm doesn't have a ton of recoil, but after shooting a couple hundred rounds of this doesn't feel awesome against the shoulder and in that chest area. So I wish that they had added maybe just like a 1/4 inch of some rubber material just to make it a little bit more comfortable. It grips nicely. You have this ribbing here. It grips nicely, but I just wish it was a little bit more comfortable. But it's definitely doable. From there, I would say cons. This chassis does cost a decent amount. It will be far cheaper to buy a gun and the chassis than it would be to buy the B&T USW A1. But the chassis itself does cost, at least for the Glock models, does cost about $400, depending, between $350 and $400. So it is a little bit more expensive. This chassis will cost almost as much as the gun that you're putting into it, especially if it's like a Gen 3 Glock 19. This chassis might cost just as much as the gun itself. So just be aware of that, whether that's a pro or a con to you. I was able to justify it, but for some people they might not be able to justify it. So that's why I'm saying that. What else? Other than that, I think that's probably the only cons, I think. So let's get into the pros. So the pros, I do like that they have some Picatinny slots here, so you can add an accessory of your choice, whether it be a light, laser, or vertical grip. I feel like they had to do that, considering they're taking away your pick slot on the gun. They have to add that. So it's probably a no-brainer, but I do like that they still did it. Moving back, I do So although I had a problem with the stock, how it feels, I do like how easily it folds up and how easily it springs out, and you can get that stock fully, fully open and fully extended there. That's pretty easy. Another thing I really like is the charging handle. So your Glock now has a charging handle, which is pretty dope, in my opinion. This gun and this chassis system, I have never seen anybody else shoot something like this. I've never seen it at a gun range. I go to the gun range quite often. So it's kind of cool to be that person that has a gun that maybe no one's ever used before or ever even seen before. So that's kind of cool. I've been at the range twice with this gun, 100 rounds each time. And both times I had people coming up to me asking me what it was. They asked me if they could shoot it. I said, fuck you. Ammo is $1 million. I didn't say fuck you, but I kind of shoot them away because ammo is expensive. And they seemed like the people that would shoot an entire magazine and then walk away. So I'm not a fan of those people. So I said no, but they did show interest, which is kind of cool. Another thing that I really like, again, we already talked about it, but the slide moves independently from the optic that you have on top. So that is really, really cool. So you're able to shoot much quicker because you're able to stay on target because this optic is not moving back and forth with the slide. It's still going to be subject to recoil, right? This is not going to get rid of all recoil. The gun is still moving within the chassis, so the chassis will still be moving with the recoil, but the optic itself will be stationary. It's not going to be attached to that slide like you would if you were to just mill an optic on. So there's two pros to that. I already mentioned one, you're able to shoot quicker and stay on target more effectively. And two, the lifespan of your red dot will most likely be longer or extended because it's not subject to all of those G-forces when the slide is going back and forth. So that's really cool. All right, I really like that. What else? I also like that they added this little loop here. Again, it's not much, but I do like that they thought about that so you could attach a sling. This is big enough to where you could run a sling, so I'm glad they thought about that. All right, so now let's talk about how I have this set up. I will be getting a threaded barrel from KKM. I ordered it about a month ago. I got it in black nitride, so their lead time for the black nitride barrels are between 30 and 60 days. So I ordered it about 30 or 40 days ago. So I'm hoping I get that within the next month or so, but who knows with COVID and everything, it might be backed up. But once I get that, I'll be able to run a suppressor on this, and I will highly consider this to be my new truck gun or my home defense. I have to run this a little bit more. I have to get used to the ergos a little bit more and the feel, but this might be, I might consider it to be my new home defense. Okay, so that threaded barrel is coming. It's on its way. Moving back, I do have a vertical grip here. It's angled at about 10 degrees forward. This is from Smith Manufacturing, MFG. I forget how much this costs. I don't know, 20, 30 bucks. I'll put a picture up on the screen right now of it, but it's nice polymer. It's got good texture to it. It has some ribbing here. It has a hand stop here, finger stop, so you don't have to worry about a finger slipping out in front of the barrel, okay? In front of the muzzle, that's never a good day. The other thing that I like is that they hollowed it out, all right? So there's no need for all this material in here, so I'm glad that they hollowed that out just to save on some weight, so that's really nice. Moving back, this isn't a mag that I normally run in it. I do run either 24 or 33 round magazines, but I have Glock mags for that. These are actually RWB. I don't know if you can see that, RWB. So these are cheaper Korean mags. So they will cost about half the price of a normal Glock mag, but I bought two of them and I've had problems with both of them. The other one that I don't have, I've had 3 failure to feed in just 200 rounds, 3 or 4 failure to feeds in 200 rounds. This one I haven't had any failure to feeds, but in this one and the other one, the spring is so tight that I can only get about 14 or 15 rounds in here, which defeats the purpose of a 33 round magazine if I'm only able to put half the rounds in there. I might as well just run a standard Glock mag at that point. So I did order Wolf springs. They're about $7 or so. Those should be here within the week. So I'm going to replace those, swap those out, and see from there. If I have problems with the Wolf springs, I'll probably just get rid of these magazines and just spend the extra 15 or 20 bucks and get the Glock mags. As of right now, I can't recommend these cheaper Korean mags just because I've had problems with both of them and they're super hard to load. So even if they ran flawlessly, they're very hard to load, which defeats the purpose of a 33 round magazine because I'm only able to get about 50% in there. So I might do a review after I get the Wolf springs on these mags, maybe some gun range footage, but as of right now, I cannot recommend these RWB Korean mags. Okay. Moving back, if you've been watching my videos for more than a week, you know that I am a huge fan of Holosun. In my opinion, Holosuns are probably the best bang for your buck. They offer a ton of value. They offer a ton of little specs in them, and they're just awesome. They're made of really good materials. The customer service is awesome, and they're just really nice. So this is their 509T. This is their fully enclosed red dot, and so I don't have a fully enclosed red dot, so I thought I'd go with this one. I have their 508T. I have that on my CZP-10C. The pros of a fully enclosed housing is that the laser emitter is protected. It's inside the housing. So if this were to get into water or mud or something, the emitter is not going to be blocked in any way. You get mud on this, you clean off the lens, the front lens and the rear lens, and you're good to go. You get mud in your emitter in a non-closed housing, and if you don't have the tools or water to flush that out, it might be blocking your emitter, it might be blocking that laser. So you'll be shooting with your irons at that point. So I went with that. I really like it so far. I haven't had any issues with it, which, you know, I'm not surprised. Holosun makes really good products. Great battery life, about 50,000 hour, multiple reticle system. It has the solar failsafe up here, so we can draw from the sun to utilize to utilize the sun's energy and to save the battery. So I really like that. It is mounted a little bit higher than I would like. This optic has to be mounted to an adapter plate, and then that adapter plate has to be mounted to a low mount. And with this chassis is actually built for an Aimpoint Acro, but this is not an Aimpoint Acro. So they also come with a Picatinny slot here. So the Picatinny slot screws into the chassis itself if you're not running an Acro. And then from there, I have the low mount, the adapter plate, and then the optic itself. So the height over bore is higher than I would like it. I'm still easily able to run it, but it is a little bit higher. I would just like it to be a little bit lower, a little bit more streamlined, low profile. And, the higher this is, it just has, higher chance of getting snagged on something. But it is what it is. But yeah, Holosun 509T. Moving back, I do have my first sling from T-Rex Arms. For the most part, I'm happy with it. It's good material. It doesn't have a ton of padding, but I don't need a lot of padding. This is a fairly light gun, and I don't need a ton of padding if I'm carrying it around. But the padding is nice, and it is vented. You have their pull tab here. So this is how you tighten or loosen the sling itself. It is nice. It's pretty smooth for the most part, although I do have to say that, in my opinion, Faro Concept Slingster is a little bit smoother than this. I haven't fully tested this sling out. I might attach it to other guns at some point, but as of right now, just on the hour or so I've used it, the Faro Concepts is a little bit smoother. I did convert it into a 1-point sling just because on this model there's no other place to attach a sling to, or a sling attachment to. So I got this hook through T-Rex Arms. I also got this Tri-Glide through T-Rex arms. So this tri-glide just essentially allows you to convert a 2-point sling into a 1-point sling. You just tie it up through here, and then it has a area here where you can put a QD sling mount, and that gets, that just fits right up in there, and then you're good to go. So that's really nice. I got that through them. And, T-Rex arms, they usually ship stuff pretty quickly. I ordered this sling, and I'm pretty sure that it shipped within about 12 to 14 hours. So that's really nice. The other reason why I got this sling is because, and no one else does this, and so this just kind of goes to show you the forward thinking of T-Rex arms, but they come with these little bungees. So what you can do is you can tie your sling up to your gun and have everything in a nice tight little package like this. And then if I drop the stock here, right there, whoop, there we go. It is a super compact little package that you could use for a truck gun or home defense or a bag gun. So that's really nice. All right, I think that's the end of this review. Again, please share, like, subscribe. If you found this video helpful and educational, and comment down below if you have any questions or if I got anything wrong. I'll try to respond to you as quickly as I can. Again, once we hit 100 subscribers, I will be giving away an Arc'teryx Naga hoodie Gen 2 in Ranger Green, and it's a men's large. I will also be giving away a Ruger baseball hat. So it will be a combined value and I guess prize giveaway of about $220. So if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. You might have a chance to win that. If your friends aren't subscribed, tell them to subscribe, because again, the closer we get to, or the sooner we get to 100 subscribers, one of you might win these things. All right, this has been another episode of Saturday Weapon Ray. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.